Maybe we are, maybe we are not. I don't know. Yes, we are. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So it's Friday. We finally made it here. We finally made it to Friday. Mass protests planned all over the United Kingdom today. That's happening today, guys, okay? I'm predicting more things are going to happen. Remember, bad things happen on a Friday. Why? Well, lots of reasons. First of all, people are skiving, and particularly... That flies in here again. And particularly this Friday, guys, all right? We're now in the 6 weeks holidays. We're in the summer holidays. People are away. People are off work. People are skiving. People are going to have one too many in the pub. Kids are off school. Mums and dads are off school. What does that all mean? Well, that all means that there's going to be less action, less people at work, and more energy to do these things. That is the reality of the situation right now because it's the 6 weeks holidays. When it's not the 6 weeks holidays, and in normal Fridays, you get people skiving off work because nobody wants to work the weekend. You get the stock market closing. So the stock market will close at some point today. So if there is a mass event, and you make that happen on a Friday, that gives Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the stock market will readjust on Monday. So you can make a ton of money, whether that's going to go north or south. Now, the example I give is, I'll give a different example right now, ladies and gentlemen. I will give you guys a very different example. Can you guys remember when when Donald Trump sent the when Donald Trump sent the, this is a tongue twister, when Donald Trump sent the bunker busters into Iran. Can you guys remember that? Right. Well, look, I don't know if this happened, but and I don't, guys, I genuinely don't know. But when something like that happens, you can imagine that behind the scenes, somebody says, right, Donald, do you know what? If we just drop one of these bunker busters there, that's going to put this company out of action. And then that company there is going to make a ton of money. So if we put a load of stocks and shares into that company, knowing that other company is going to go out of action, we're going to make a ton of money. And that's why I would speculate that's why things happen. You've got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, these things, the military don't benefit from this. So here's the question to you guys. Do you think we have politicians in the United Kingdom right now or in the West that want to make a few quid for themselves? I mean, look how much money Sadiq Khan is managing to gather. Look, and I'm not saying there's anything nefarious about that. I'm just saying that his salary does not meet, I'm just saying that Sadiq's lifestyle does not meet his salary. Tell me I'm wrong, guys. Tell me I'm wrong. So this is where it goes, all right? So you get the military, they will come up with their plan, and then the politicians will say, well, do you know what? If you strike that on Friday, me and my mates can make a ton of money. It's not going to really cost anything more or less, but it's just going to make us make a ton of money. And I would speculate that behind the scenes, that sort of stuff happens quite often. So that's what we're talking about today, guys. Urgent warning, it is Friday. Bad things happen on a Friday for the reasons I've just gone through. We are in Friday now with mass protests planned all over the United Kingdom. I would say there's going to be more stuff planned for today, ladies and gentlemen. I think there's going to be strange things happening behind the scenes right now. I would speculate that there are people sat in locations thinking, oh, I want to do X, I want to do Y, I want to pull this off, I want to do this, I want to do that. I think all those things are happening, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. So it is Friday. We're going to be on the live stream later on today. I just want to put this out as a warning. Listen, guys, if you live in a major town, city, or built up area, if you live near one of these places that is likely to have, excuse me, guys, if you live in one of these places that is likely to have protests, so what I mean by that, if you live near one of these hotels, one of these big locations that is going to gather people in, that is going to gravitate people into protests, you really need to start thinking about hibernate, relocate, and evacuate. Potentially not evacuate, because I don't think there's really anywhere to go to, but definitely hibernating, guys. All right. In the first phase of these crisis phases, you guys need to hibernate. What does that mean? Go back to your house, have a cup of tea, and sit it out. Go upstairs, turn all the lights off, don't let anybody know you're in, and just sit this thing out, ride it out. I would say a good percentage of crimes are opportunistic. Right, I'm going to jump up. And get the comments, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to get the comments on TikTok. Right, where are we? Good morning, everyone. I guess we are on now. Can you guys do me a real big favor if you're on? Hit the follow button if you're watching on TikTok. If you're watching on YouTube and you've not done so already, hit the like, the comment, the subscribe, blah, blah, blah. The subscribe button. I'm so excited excited sometimes, guys. I forget how to talk. My brain moves faster than my mouth, which is better than your mouth moving faster than your brain, I might add. Right, let me jump up. I did say I was going to get these comments. Loz Luxford is saying, lol, you just joined, and I think she's laughing at, I don't know, I must have, I think she was talking about I think she's talking about my hair there. Four Paws is saying, good morning, Sean and everyone. T is saying Oasis concert tomorrow in Edinburgh. Linda Lou is saying morning Sean, morning all, morning to you, Linda Lou. Lulswell is saying hi Lulswell. Timsky is saying hi. Jody Lee, thank you for sending me I don't know, Jody Lee just sent me something. Thank you so much for that. Timsky saying hi. Sharon Owen is saying good morning. Dodsbra is saying, do you think it could ever get to the levels, exceed the levels of troubles in the UK? Dodge, let me pin this. I'm not sure what this means. Dodsbra is saying, do you think it could ever get to the levels? Right, okay. Yes, I do. So Dodsbra here is saying, basically, do I feel the level of what are we talking about? The level of social discontent. Hassan's trying to join. Hassan, if you want to join, mate, you're going to have to come through. Send me an inbox message and we'll talk about, and you can talk about what we want to talk about on the live stream. I've done it before where I let people on. And it just goes wrong. So I get somebody from like I don't know where they're from, but they're just begging for money, and then it's not good for me. Sorry, I'm sorry, guys. I digress. Somebody just flashed up when somebody asks to join, it flashes up on the screen quite big. So Dodsbra, I'll repeat that again. Sorry, guys. Dodsbra is saying, do you think it could ever get to the level, exceed the level of the troubles, but in the UK? So I think Dodsbra there is talking about the troubles in Northern Ireland. Yes, I do. I think it's going to get to and exceed the levels of troubles that were in Northern Ireland. Remember, guys, okay, we've not seen anything yet. We have seen nothing yet. We're in the shock of war right now. We are literally in the shock of war right now. If you guys, I'll give you an example about this. Hang on, guys, I need to respond to this message. Sorry, guys. I think I did a Freudian slip. Oh no, I didn't. So I want to refer you guys to 2003 in the invasion of Iraq. The initial invasion of Iraq. There was 21 days of fighting. I think there was 21 days of fighting. And the whole country of Iraq was it was under shock and awe. They didn't know what was happening. It was only after that shock and awe that the real trouble started. I mean, the real trouble for me started in Iraq started around about 2005, 2006. So there was that 2-year soak period before people actually start to mobilize and people actually start to strike back. So Dodsbra is asking there, do I think it could ever get to the levels or exceed the levels of the levels that were witnessed in Northern Ireland, but in the UK? Yes, but on absolute steroids, guys. I think it's going to exceed the levels what we saw in Northern Ireland. I really do, guys. I really do. That is the direction of travel I feel we're going at the moment. Dosbraz also saying, with Putin due to meet Trump next week, do you see this is the beginning of the end of the Ukrainian war? No, I don't see this as the beginning of the end of the Ukrainian war at all, ladies and gentlemen. I don't see it at all. The ground does not dictate a cease. I need to be careful what I say while I'm on TikTok, guys. It's really restrictive. In my opinion, the ground does not dictate a ceasefire. What do I mean by that? To have a ceasefire, first of all, wars only end one way, with a winner. They only end with a winner. I don't know of a war that's ended with a stalemate. I really don't. I don't know of a war that's ended with a stalemate. Maybe there is one. I don't know. Before people say North and South Korea are still at war. So I don't know of a war that's ended in a stalemate where both sides have just gone, we're good. We're gonna go home, and we're good. We're good. It doesn't work like that. So the ground would dictate a ceasefire in Ukraine, and on the ground, where the Russians are now in Ukraine, there's nothing. On the ground in Ukraine, there's nothing there that the Russians can hide behind and the Ukrainians can hide behind. Now, for example, in Afghanistan, well, some parts of in the Afghanistan border, that's mountain ranges. In Ukraine, I believe the only realistic chance for a peace negotiation or people to seriously come to peace negotiations is if the Russians. There's two options. The first option is the Russians leave Ukraine and agree to rebuild all the towns, cities, and settlements that they have destroyed. The second option, which I think is more likely, is the Russians make it all the way up to the River Dnipro. Now, the River Dnipro is a huge, big, thick flowing river. It bisects the country east and west, pretty much 50-50. Now that river would be a perfect land line, a perfect land barrier, I guess. Yeah, a land barrier, I guess, that the Ukrainians would be difficult to go over and the Russians would be difficult to go over. So until that point, hitherto, I don't see what they're going to negotiate in terms of peace, in ceasefires. And even if there is a proposed ceasefire, guys, look, the Ukrainians need to agree on it. So Donald Trump can't go over to, meet with Vladimir Putin and shake his hand and say, We've got a real good deal. It's a good deal for the Ukrainians. It's a great deal for Vladimir Putin. Everybody gets away with a win. I just don't see that, guys. The ground will dictate this movement. And like all strategic, tactical scenarios, the ground dictates what happens. Anyway, Jody Lee is saying, morning, everyone. Aline Hamilton is saying, morning, and with an X, thank you so much. Dodgebra, yeah, we was talking about Northern Ireland. So I'll just repeat that, guys, okay? I do believe, in my opinion, my speculation and my analysis, the United Kingdom is going to become something like Northern Ireland, but on absolute steroids. Am I allowed to say that? Have I been restricted? I've not been restricted. What can I say? I'll say on creatine. I'll say on creatine. If maybe I'll get banned for that. Scottish Sonia is saying, good morning on this bleak day. Scottish Sonia, right? Where I am in the UK, it isn't really bleak. We've actually got the sun for a wee while, but I guess you guys in Scotland, you've always got that bleak weather. It's quite sunny where we are in the UK. Tim Skate is saying, I saw a video of Ant Middleton. Think he stepped down for similar reasons as you, mate. There we go, guys. Look, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't done so already, like if you're new to this channel, guys, if you're new to this channel, just like I'm on this channel, guys, we are at least a year. We run about a year ahead of everyone else. So the things that we're talking about now, they will become mainstream in a year. They'll become mainstream in a year. And right now, they're pretty fringe. They're pretty fringe. But literally, guys, look at the things I've been saying. Like all my videos are public record. Sometimes I struggle to speak, ladies and gentlemen. I do. My brain works faster than my mouth, which is better than my mouth working faster than my brain. So yeah, Ant Middleton's been, well, allegedly Ant Middleton's. Look, guys, I've never met Ant. I've got friends who've met with him, friends who've worked with him. I'm not going to say anything negative about him. I think he would have been a better mayor, head and shoulders, than what they have in London at the moment. But it does look like Youth Reform have thrown them under. It does look like Reform have thrown him under the bus. It does look like he stepped down from Reform for similar reasons as me. Remember, guys, I was standing as a Reform candidate on the last election and I resigned. Yes, I did, ladies and gentlemen. I resigned because I didn't want to be part of that. I didn't want to associate with those type of people. The type of people I was looking at, I was looking at them thinking, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. And in my world, ladies and gentlemen, in my world, everything comes from trust. Contracts, written agreements, they're not worth the paper they're written on. Trust, 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 trust. I always harp on about this, guys, don't I? I always harp on about interpersonal relationships. Like, for example, my friends, a certain group of my friends can phone me up and say, Sean, I need X, Y, and Z. And if I say I'll deliver, I will deliver that. And they know that. So it doesn't matter what contracts are written. It doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter who's written what and how much somebody's paid to someone else. By hook or crook, I will deliver that. And that's on trust. And they know that they can ask me for that. And I know that I'll deliver. And we've got trust. We've got working relationships. It's a small group of people, my little cadre. And everything works on trust, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And this is what I'm talking about. Right. When I met with these people from Reform, not all of them, I will be quite clear, guys, not all of them, but a lot of them, I was looking at them thinking, I don't trust you. I really don't trust you. And that was one of the reasons I resigned. April Lee is saying, morning, good morning to you, April Lee. I think I'm going to sneeze. And if I do it, it'll be 3. No, I'm not. Yes? No? I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not. Timsky's saying he realised the upper echelons control. UK veterans, they say, right, guys, there's quite a lot of movement on, quite a lot of comments on YouTube. I'm going to jump over there in a second, but in the mornings, guys, I will always prioritise TikTok. Yeah, here's one, guys. I did kind of speak about this today, last night, didn't I? The Manchester, you know, the Manchester 2. Like the Manchester 2. So those guys, the Manchester 2, only one of those guys has been sentenced. Like, what's happened with the other guy? It's literally been a media, I'm going to sneeze. I've usually got 3 in me. We're good. Maybe 4. No. So the Manchester 2, yeah. Only one of those guys has been sentenced. No, I don't think they've been sentenced yet. They've been charged. So I think no, it's not. No, sorry. Okay, let's be clear, guys. We need to be clear about this. I know what you mean, Paul. So there's the verdict, and then there's the sentencing. So only one of these two gentlemen. One of the two gentlemen, the Manchester attackers, only one of these two have had their verdict. Now, it's a no verdict. Now, and I said, I don't know if you guys can remember or not, but I was saying to you guys, listen, we're going down a really strange line at the moment now. So yes, he has been charged with 3 charges, but it's the 4th charge of a 3rd charge, which would be there was 4 charges. It's the 3rd one that they didn't come to a verdict on. So this 3rd charge, which is the gentleman police officer, he's not being charged with assault on that police officer. Now, look, guys, the ramifications of this are such that if there's no charge, then that leaves it open to compensation to those guys. It does. Those guys, those Manchester alleged attackers, could be getting compensation from the Manchester police. That is a reality right now that we are facing, guys. But like we just said, only one of those gentlemen has had their verdict. So the verdicts will come out, and then you have to wait for the sentencing. Listen, guys, I don't claim to be an expert on legal system in the United Kingdom. Guns, tanks, bombs, military movements, ground tactics, strategic deployments. I'm all over that, ladies and gentlemen. UK law, I will agree, it's a desired strength. Timsky is saying people can't imagine what the potential for civil unrest in the UK is. Yes, I agree, Timsky. The potential for civil unrest in the UK is unbelievable, guys. It's unbelievable. Imagine Northern Ireland. Well, think about Northern Ireland in its worst, all right? And then imagine that on creatine or some whatever extracurriculum supplements you guys may or may not take. UK veterans is saying, have you seen the petition for a general election with over 300,000 signed? So, like, it doesn't matter. Like, the government are not going to have a general election right now. No way, Bob. They are going to leave that till the wheels fall off. Look, and it's just like every time I think about this, it's absolutely hilarious. Mark my words, ladies and gentlemen. Tag this little segment now. I don't know if you can tag this or like clip this little segment, but mark my words, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to have a scenario where the government have to overtly tax the working people. You know, the working people. And this is what they're going to say. They're going to say it's the millionaire, it's those rich people's fault for abandoning the country. It's not our fault, it's those rich people's fault. And what's really happening here, guys, what's really happening is the government are, I believe, are destroying I don't know if I can say this, am I going to get banned? The government, I believe, are making the economy to such a state that universal basic income has to be implemented. That's what I think's happening, guys. I really do. Timsky is saying, they'll bet these 2,000 sunbathers don't have a clue if an active hooter came down the beach. All right, yeah. A lot of people don't, guys. A lot of people don't know what will happen. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday. We are on. I don't say this as much as I should. Can you guys please like, comment, share, subscribe, bell notification? We're triple streaming today, so we are streaming on TikTok, we are streaming on X, and we are streaming on YouTube. I'll do the first part of this video on TikTok, and then I will flip. Well, I'll turn TikTok off, and then I'll just be streaming on YouTube. Guys, the reason I've got to do that is TikTok is so restrictive. Yes, restrictive is a new word now, guys. I just made it up. I'm a fully qualified English gentleman. You can trace my family heritage back to the 11th century. I don't care. Right, Timsky's saying, a boat turned up the other day. 3 tourists captured 3 of the 60 boat people. Is that what's happening now in Spain? In Spain, is that what's happening now? People are fighting with the boat. People are having a good old scrap with people that come off the boats. I don't know, guys. Listen. How many times have I said this one as well? We are heading towards sword and sandal conflicts in the United Kingdom. It does look like that's going to be on our streets very soon. It may happen today. Lots of protests planned for today, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of protests planned for today. If you live near one of those locations, if you live in a big town, city, built up area that may or may not be likely to have some sort of protests outside of some sort of hotels, maybe, I don't know, think about hibernating. Literally right now, guys, do you have enough food, water, fuel to sit in your house for a couple of days while all the craziness is going on outside? Because, guys, look, all it's going to take is the flick of a match and this thing is gone. Right, I'm going to jump over to YouTube, guys. Give me a second. Paul Sullivan is saying, no, you're wrong. Remember how much the Tories cost the economy. You can't blame Labour. I'm sorry, but you're wrong. So Paul Sullivan here is saying, look, guys, okay, I'm blaming all governments because, do you know what? I'm not blaming governments. I'm blaming the political system. All right. I'm not, but I am putting a lot of blame on the Labour Party as well. So the Labour Party, so Paul Sullivan, riddle me this, okay? The Labour Party, when they got into power, all right, this is what they said. And I'm just, look, this is direct to you, Paul Sullivan, and anybody else who wants, and on YouTube, guys, anybody else who wants to throw in your comments. So Paul Sullivan is saying, no, you're wrong. Remember how much the Tories cost the economy. You can't blame Labour. I'm sorry, but you're wrong. Okay, fair enough. Did Rachel Reeves, when she came into office, did she say, in fact, did Labour say they were not going to raise taxes? When they were before the election, in their election campaigns, did they or did they not say, we are not going to raise taxes? Everything's budgeted. Did they say that? I believe they did. Let's just say that they did, because I know they did. All right. Then once they were elected, they said, do you know what, guys? Yeah, we're going to have to raise taxes because the Tories lied. And maybe they did, maybe they didn't. The Tories lied about the finances, and we've actually found a 22 billion pound black hole. So we're gonna have to raise taxes, but don't worry. We're only gonna raise them once. We're gonna get rid of this 22 billion pound black hole, and then everything's gonna be fine. Did that happen? Did that happen, or am I wrong? And then at every opportunity, have Labour raise taxes. And the amount of tax revenue that they've raised to bring, remember that they had to raise taxes to get rid of this £22 billion black hole. So all these taxes and I'm asking you a question now, Paul, and Paul Sullivan, they've been raising, so they had a 22 billion black hole. They've raised taxes and taxes and taxes and taxes. They've managed to reduce that 22 billion black hole to a 50 billion black hole. If that's not Labour's fault, can you explain how that's happened, please? Please, and just, I'm not being rude. I'm not, I'm telling you, that's my perception of it. And if you think I'm wrong, please put it in the comments. Right. Oh, hang on. Sorry, guys. Right. Okay. That was two people. Right. Hang on, guys. There's two people arguing here. Right. Okay. Sorry. I just jumped on a comment there on the chat and it was guys talking among each other. Look, guys, the problem here is we have the problem. All these problems stem from all these problems that we have right now stem from there's no accountability in government. Absolutely zero. No accountability in government. Governments get into office. Literally, the Labour Party is a perfect example. This is actually a perfect example. So the Labour Party got into office by saying they were not going to raise taxes. Literally, at every opportunity, they've raised taxes to the maximum. Tell me I'm wrong, guys. Tell me I'm wrong. That is what has happened. So there's no accountability. We can't do anything now. We have to wait till 2029 for another election, if we even get there, if the aliens don't come. So that's the problem. The problem is no accountability. And when you don't have accountability, these things happen, guys. Yes, there is accountability. They can vote for people, but the timescales the timescales. It's like 4 years, and it's just pointless right now. We have got this for another like 3.5 years or whatever it is. Lisu, we say morning, Sean. I'm saying morning right back to you, Lisu. Timskate is saying there will be a new Robin Hood, I bet you. Like, how would that work? How would it work? How would it work if there was to be a new, I'm not saying there's going to be or there should be. And look, guys, I actually think the Sheriff of Nottingham was the good guy. I really do. I think the Sheriff of Nottingham was the good guy. I think he's just like, if you look at the story of Robin Hood, look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm letting my biases show through. All right, look, guys, I need to be clear. I'm ex-military. I'm a veteran. I support the military. I support the police. I support the government. I support the rule of law. What we have at the moment, though, guys, I have to be critical of it. I have to be critical of it because it's kind of not what I expect it to be. Now, let's just go on a sidetrack a little bit, guys. So the story of Robin Hood, it could be argued that Robin Hood was just a common thief paying off the locals not to grass him up. That's what it could, that's what it could be, guys. That's what it could be, So rather than rob from the rich and give to the poor, he's robbing from everyone and paying people off. That's, that could be another angle of the Robin Hood story. I do love a good Robin Hood film. Right, the chat is going wild on YouTube, guys. The chat's going wild. I'm gonna right. There's so many people arguing on the chat on YouTube, guys. It's crackers. Dave Coombs. So Dave Coombs is saying, have you heard the latest about potential attacks on schools? So I've looked into this, guys. I've really tried to find where this comes from, I've really tried to find where this comes from. I can't find, look, I'm not saying it's not going to happen. All I'm saying is I can't find a credible source for this. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying it's not real. All I'm saying is I genuinely can't find a credible source that I can look at and think, right, okay, that's where it's come from. This report, these people have published it. So I genuinely wouldn't really be able to comment on it. I wouldn't. Matt is saying they cut the winter fuel allowance and are willing to, I can't say that word, do something to fix their mistakes. Look, mark my words, guys, all right? Whether it comes this autumn, whether it comes sooner, whether it comes later, we are going to have a situation where normal people get taxed. Where normal people get taxed, guys, all right? And this is the way it's going to go, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, guys, we are on. Can you guys do me a real big favor? Like, comment, subscribe, follow, whatever those buttons are that help this channel grow, guys, because I really do appreciate it. And if you can't do anything to that sort, can you please just share the live, ladies and gentlemen? Just share the live, whatever platform you're watching, whether you're watching this on YouTube, whether you're watching this on X, whether you're watching this on TikTok. Please just share the live, guys, and get that message out there, because that really does help with the algorithm. It really does help pump me out there in the algorithm. Right, ladies and gentlemen, look, I'm going to keep TikTok on for a while because I don't feel we're doing anything controversial at the moment. But I'm just going to jump off screen. I'm going to caffeinate myself, and then I will be right back. Give me a second, guys. And I am back. Ladies and gentlemen. Right, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, urgent warning, it is Friday. Mass events are planned all over the United Kingdom today, guys, all right? We have got, allegedly, thousands of pro-Palestine marchers. I think I heard a statistic that there's going to be 200 protests outside hotels. The police could be overwhelmed today, guys. So let me just jump up and try and find some of these news articles. I've just remembered I've literally just been monologuing for the last, I don't know how long. Tab. Right, so here we are, guys. News from 2 hours ago. This is from The Guardian, all right, guys? I'm just going to give you this. I'm literally just going to give you this from The Guardian. I should have gone with this as the headline, actually. Police in England brace for disorders as far-right promote anti-migrant protests. I don't even know what that means. I'm just reading this now, ladies and gentlemen, from The Guardian, so I hope I don't get done for fake news, although I may get this restricted, and if we do, we'll just swizzle over to YouTube. Restrictions are in place on Friday, including Norwich and officers, including Norwich. I don't know why they would say, and I'm just going to read it. I'm going to read it instead of trying to give real-time commentary. So this is an article from 2 hours ago, I guess. An article from 2 hours ago. Police in England brace for disorder as far-right promote anti-migrant protests. Restrictions in place on Friday in areas including Norwich, and officers will monitor at least 12 other towns and cities. Police are braced for potential disorder in towns across England this weekend amid far-right promotion of a range of protests against anti-asylum seekers, with anti-racism activists planning counter-protests. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen. Restrictions will be in place on Friday at locations including Norwich. I don't know why they're mentioning Norwich all the time, but whatever. While officers will be responding to 12 other towns and cities that evening. There are particular concerns around the planned protests on Saturday at council offices in Nuneaton, where Warwickshire Police have dismissed claims by a Reform UK councillor that the force held back information over the alleged, you know, something that happens to 12-year-old girls by migrants, that thing. While local people have been involved in demonstrations that have taken place in recent weeks. Chair of the National Chiefs Committee Council's Operations Coordination Committee, Chief Constable B.J. Harrington, said, "We urge communities to carefully consider information they read, share and trust from online sources." It's a set, right. Hang on. Yeah. So there's just a load of waffle. But there we have it, guys. It does look like this Friday. It is Friday today. I always say bad things happen on a Friday. I have said there could be a global event today as well. I don't know if this is happening. The data has pointed to it. I'm not sure if this meeting with Trump and Putin has delayed that thing that was going to happen. It may have delayed it till next week. I don't know. But look, it does look like if you live in the United Kingdom right now, you need to understand, hibernate, relocate, and evacuate. And then maybe if you've evacuated and you need to still get out there, you need to alienate. I don't know. Right, let me jump up and get some comments, ladies and gentlemen, because I can see the comments going swizzling. Weather adrenaline from us or them, says Timsky. I don't know what that means. Timsky's saying weather adrenaline from us or them. I don't know what that means. Yeah, Googly's saying, what's next? 100 billion black hole? Yes, I believe this is what's going to happen, guys. All right. Remember, we started with a 22 billion black hole, so we're going to have to raise taxes. Now we have a 50 billion black hole, so we're going to have to raise taxes. Now we've got a 100 billion black hole. Now we're going to have to raise taxes. At what point is somebody in Puzzle Palace going to understand that raising taxes does not get you more money? It gets you less money because people think, yeah, I'm good. I'm just going to leave. Because honestly, guys, like, we are so close to leaving right now. Like, honestly, we're so close to leaving. In fact, I was joking to some of my Ukrainian friends the other day. I said, listen, why don't you bring your family over on a boat? I'll put you up in my house. And we'll just split the difference. We'll literally get the government. Like, the government will be able to pay for all that. We'd literally get free living. Listen, guys, I think we was kind of half joking. Linda Lou is saying, so they mention far right, but it's the left that called for thousands of protests. Yeah, I mean, look, guys, I had to read the article. Read the article as it was. If you go to these protests, like, yes, there are people who I would say are far right. But I don't think there's this overarching. And look, guys, I don't know right now. I genuinely don't know. I do not know. I don't know. I don't know. I can't confirm or deny what I'm about to say, so I'm just going to say this as my own speculation, all right? I don't know if there is some, like, overarching far-right, like, leadership. Like, somebody sat in an office, like, with a letter on his door, with like a little sign on his door or her door saying far right UK HQ, managing director, I don't know, whatever. I don't know if that's there. I do believe there are people who have far right, like, and I don't agree with it, with like far right tendencies. And, these people are very difficult to talk with. They're very difficult to talk with. I'm not going to go into it, but they're very difficult to talk with, very difficult to reason with. And they're the people I would say, who I would consider personally as far right. But again, I don't think they're being organized by some sort of like far right HQ. But the majority of people at these protests, like nanans and mums and kids, and are we saying that, like, are they all far right? I would say they're not. Anyway, let me jump up. Dodsbra is saying, fantastic comment here from Dodsbra. This should go on a t-shirt, guys. Dodsbra is saying, I feel the UK has really gone to pot since the Queen transcended to a beam of light. I do as well. I mean, me and Sarah were talking about this the other day. Like, I 100%, I'm with you on that, buddy. I feel we have been absolutely swizzled since the Queen left. Googly saying my dad has a flat in Spain, so we can all swizzle over there. Gemini Blessing is saying good morning all, and a load of, like, I don't know what that emoji is. It's like a night fever emoji or something. Timsky is saying I read a local paper here, 8,000 illegals in my town alone. Don't know if that's correct with a population of 35,000. Linda Lewis saying, oh, I'm not saying it's you, Sean. It's the article. Oh, no, I know. Yeah, I know, guys. Look, when I'm reading these articles, I've just got to be very careful what I'm reading and how I read these things. Mr. Punjabi is trying to join. If you want to come on my live stream, mate, send me an inbox message and we'll talk about it. Right, I'm going to get some comments on YouTube because the YouTube comments are going, are swizzling up now, guys, okay? Right, hang on. Paul Sullivan is saying, end the Ukraine war, then we can get oil flowing into Europe again from Russia, which would save Europe money. We can benefit from it in trade. I mean, I think, well, the United Kingdom, guys, listen, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the United Kingdom is sitting on the biggest oil reserves in the world. We're sitting on the biggest oil reserves in the world right now, just off the coast of the Falkland Islands. If I was David Lammy, and I'm not, I'm definitely not David Lammy, in case any of you guys are confused. I am not David Lammy. But if I was David Lammy, my office would be in the Falklands. I will be right down there in the Falklands, and it will be my main intent to get the oil from the Falkland Islands and bring it back to the United Kingdom. And then everybody in the United Kingdom could have cheap fuel. That's what I would do. This green agenda, it's absolutely absurd, guys. It's absurd. The green agenda is absurd. But yeah, if we talk about oil, really, and people say it's like, I think I may get this live stream restricted when I'm talking. I think I'm going to get this live stream restricted now, guys, because what I'm going to say is, right, before I get the live stream restricted, guys, can you make sure you like, comment, subscribe? You're following on all three platforms, guys. Make sure you're following on YouTube. Make sure you've subscribed to YouTube. Make sure you're following on X. And if you've not done so and you're watching on TikTok, please hit that follow button as well. So I think I'm about to get this live stream. I think I'm about to get this live stream restricted, and I'm not going to say anything that controversial. So talking about oil. When I used to work for BP in southern Iraq, I used to talk to like the executives there, some really bigwigs, and one of the guys, Ernie, he used to love salt and vinegar crisps. I said to Ernie once, I said, Ernie, I said, what is oil? Like, what is it? And Ernie went on a long explanation, and at the end of it, the conclusion was nobody knows what oil is. Nobody knows. Now, people claim that oil is fossil fuel and it's vegetation that's rotted. And that's fine. That may be the case. I don't know. Now, my response to that would be, if it's a fossil fuel, there's no fossils ever being found below, I think it's like 16,000 meters or something, or maybe 16 kilometers. I can't remember what it is, but there's a depth that no fossils have ever been found below that. Yet we drill for oil double, triple that every day. Okay, fine. So oil is vegetation. It's vegetation that's rotted, compressed over millions of years, and that's what oil is. Okay, fine. One of the moons of Saturn, Titan, the moon Titan, is literally made of hydrocarbons. It's got rivers and an atmosphere of hydrocarbons. There's more hydrocarbons on Titan than there is like on Earth. It's the most dense hydrocarbon entity that we know of. So using the fossil fuel analogy, does that mean that Titan once had vegetation and dinosaurs roaming on it? I don't know. I don't know. These are just simple questions, guys, all right? These are just simple questions. So I believe there's a lot more oil. I don't think we're going to run out of oil anytime soon. That's just my opinion. I've not been restricted yet, guys. I've not been restricted yet. I thought that would get me restricted because that was quite I thought that was quite controversial. Anyway, guys, so maybe at different times of day I get restricted for different things. April Lee's jumped over from TikTok. Thank you, April Lee. April Lee's jumped over from TikTok. She's gone to the more adult channel. And we need a whole new government. April Lee on YouTube is saying we need a whole new government system in place. People who have worked in different jobs, roles, education. Yeah. One of the main, again, lots of problems with the system. We have politicians who go into politics from university. What worldly experience do they have? Yes, they might have, I don't know, you might have a defense minister who's got a degree in modern warfare and liberal arts. I don't know, maybe something like that. Like, when you get these, but then you've got to think about the deeper manipulation of this and think, right, okay, what have they actually learned and who set that course? Who writ the syllabus on that course? And what agenda did they have? Anyway, and Timsky's jumped over to YouTube as well. Hello, Timsky, jumping over to YouTube. Yeah, sorry, guys. Where was I going with that? I was talking about oil for a little bit. Look, United Kingdom have plenty of oil. We do. We have plenty of oil in the United Kingdom. Like, we have a lot of oil in the UK. I don't think it should be. I don't think anyone should be going cold at winter when the United Kingdom is sat on the world's biggest oil reserve off the coast of, I believe, off the coast. Well, it's off the coast of Antarctica, but it's in British Antarctic territory. And look, guys, I've said this quite a few times. Oh, hang on. Right, hang on. There's just something come out here, guys. Give me a second. Let me click this on. I've just had this flash up. Migrant crisis fury at pretty seaside town as asylum seekers stay in 3 hotels. In the heart of, I'm just going to read this, guys. This is just flashed up. Give me a second. In the heart of Bournemouth, where sun-kissed beaches meet bustling tourism, a quiet storm brews as 3 prominent hotels became unexpected havens. 3 large hotels near one of Britain's most populous beaches are being used to house asylum seekers this summer. And why not, ladies and gentlemen? Why not? Let's get them in Bournemouth. I mean, I think they should have actually should have extra money if they're in Bournemouth. Nobody wants to be skint in Bournemouth. 3 large hotels near one of Britain's most popular beaches are being used to house asylum seekers this summer, leaving holiday makers in Bournemouth frustrated as they pay premium prices while migrants are accommodated just 200 metres from the seaside. So there we have it, guys. Our taxpayers' money is going to fund this again. We've got more taxpayers' money going to fund our own demise. The China Hotel, Roadhouse Hotel, and Britannia Hotel, all within walking distance from Bournemouth's famous beaches, have been closed to tourists for over a year after being taken over by the Home Office. I want to go to the Roadhouse Hotel, guys. Let me just Google what the Roadhouse Hotel is like. I want to go. I hope Patrick Swayze's there. I hope Patrick Swayze is in the Roadhouse. Roadhouse. Let me just Google this a second. I want to see what the Roadhouse Hotel looks like. Give me a second. Roadhouse Hotel, Bournemouth. Let me find this. Roadhouse Hotel, Bournemouth. What's just happened? I didn't say that. Where's the thing? Roadhouse Hotel, Bournemouth. Images. Oh, that's beautiful. So the Roadhouse Hotel in Bournemouth is absolutely beautiful. It's like a circular. Oh, it's a beautiful hotel. Listen, if I just came off listen, guys, I'm not going to lie. If I just came off the boats and I was fleeing persecution in France and I got put up in the Roadhouse Hotel, I would be well happy. I'd be so happy. I'd be like, wow, I definitely made the right life decision here. I thank you, taxpayers. And look, guys, if we have to raise our taxes, if we all have to, if we have to keep raising our taxes, so what? So what, ladies and gentlemen, if we have to keep raising our taxes, we need these hotels to be full. Those people are, poor people fleeing persecution in France. We need to get them in 4-star hotels, 5-star hotels. In fact, you know what? I think you should have a total refit with things that are less colonial. I mean, those chairs don't look very diverse. I think they need to get new chairs, more comfortable chairs in the foyer. The beds don't look comfy enough, so I think we need to have new sleep-proof, sleep well mattresses. I think the whole place needs a refurb, guys. I think the taxpayer should pay for that. I really do. So there's 3 hotels. Sorry, guys, I digress slightly there. That just jumped up on my feed. Right, let me come back. Let me come back to this, guys. Where are we? Sorry, guys, that was a bit of a tangent. It just jumped up on my feed. I want to bring everybody's attention back to what's just happened with this homeless minister as well. So yesterday we were talking about the homeless minister. Guys, listen, I don't know if you know this or not, but a story broke yesterday. A story broke yesterday saying that, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that the homeless minister evicted tenants from some of her houses. I don't know how many houses she's got. A homeless minister evicted tenants from some of her houses, then relisted them more than £700 a month higher. So we literally have, now I spoke about this yesterday, we literally have a homeless minister, we literally have a homelessness minister who's making people homeless. We have a finance minister who's making people poorer. Like, does anybody not see the correlation here between George Orwell's 1984 and what's happening right now? Honestly, guys, it would not surprise me. It would not surprise me if tomorrow they said, right, this government needs to have a ministry of truth to understand, so the ministry of truth can decide what's fake news or not. Honestly, guys, it wouldn't surprise me if they actually called it the ministry of truth either. But let's continue. So, and I think some people about this homeless minister, I think people are missing the point here. People are missing the point. Like, if I went for a role, I don't know. Say I went for a role as a shipbuilding consultant, right? You hear me out, guys. Just hear me out. Say I went for a government role as a shipbuilding consultant, and I had a shipbuilding company. Do you not see the conflict of interest there? Do you not see the conflict of interest there? Like, I know a lot of people who turn down jobs because of the conflict of interest. People with integrity, they'll say, look, mate, you know what? I can't work for you on that because I've got ties with this company, and there'd be a conflict of interest. So, like, do you not see the conflict of interest problems here, guys? So, like, if I went for a job, say I had a shipbuilding company. I build small boats or ships or whatever. If I went for a job then to advise the government on how to build ships, do you not see the conflict of interest there, where I'd be just saying, yeah, we need to build your ships? Do you see that? So now we had a homelessness minister who's also a landlord. I don't know how many houses she's got, guys. I don't know how many houses she's got. But do you not see the conflict of interest here, guys? And we only know about this one. So how many defense ministers have ties to defense contracting companies? How many, you see where I'm going with this, guys? And and the conflict of interest is unbelievable. It really is. And I've worked in the military I guess I work in the military industrial complex, and some of the things that you see are unbelievable. But when you understand that this is why they happen, it's phenomenal, guys. A lot of our money is going to, into the pockets of politicians, I believe, nefariously. And I think if we understood where this money was going and how it moved, I think there'd be, a national outcry. And I think this is just the canary in the, the canary in the coal mine. Right, hang on, guys. There's lots of people talking. All right, I'm just gonna, guys. If you guys listen, if you guys are on YouTube, because you guys are all like arguing among yourself and stuff, which is fine. If there's a comment specifically from me, just put Sean, and then and I'll know it's from me. Because at the moment there's loads of stuff happening. Debbie Dooms is saying I'm benign. I'm benign. That's okay. Debbie Doobs is saying, I'm behind on the live, but DJ Audits has done a video of these Bournemouth hotels. Yeah, it's phenomenal, isn't it, guys? Listen, ladies and gentlemen, the crux of this video, the crux of this live stream is, it is Friday. Urgent warning, ladies and gentlemen, if you live in the United Kingdom right now, guys, urgent warning. Police in England brace for disorder as far-right promote anti-migrant protests. That's the headline, guys. That's the headline. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. I'm saying that's the headline. What I'm saying is going to happen is there's going to be a lot of people on the streets today. There's going to be a lot of people out. There's going to be a lot of people at the pubs. There's going to be a lot of people off school. There's going to be a lot of people having the weekend knowing they're not going to have to get up on Monday. There's going to be a lot of capacity. There's going to be a lot of energy on the streets this weekend, guys. I'll be live streaming tonight. I'll be getting as much as I can from open source. I'll be getting as much as I can from open source social media, and I'll be relaying that to you guys with live commentary. Right, let me just jump up on here again. Dodgebra is saying the 3 hotels in Bournemouth are nice. I'm not far from there. Only the best. Yeah, only the best, guys. Only the best. You wouldn't expect anything less, would you, if you came to the United Kingdom? You would want that 4-star hotel. You would want that. You would want that hotel on the beach. You would want 3 meals a day. It is what it is. Look, guys, we can all see what's happening. Where are we? Let me get news. Oh, there's more protests. There's protests planned today in Poland as well. Oh no, in Belarus. Belarus protests to Poland over there's a planned anti-Lukashenko march in Warsaw. So maybe it's going. Maybe we've got international protests. Right, we're prepared. So this is an article from The Independent, guys. We're prepared if protests turn violent, police say ahead of anti-migrant demonstrations. Forces are preparing for a fresh wave of anti-migrant protests at asylum hotels, as well as possible mass arrests for Palestine Action supporters continue to defy terror laws. Guys, this weekend it's going to be a wild one, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a wild one this weekend. There's no denying it. Police chiefs have warned they are ready to mobilize significant and specialist resources if unrest breaks out, as a string of anti-migrant protests are planned at hotels housing asylum seekers. Look, I don't think these things are going to happen. These things are not going to happen in the capacity that would be relevant unless... Sorry, I don't think these things are going to happen in the capacity that people are thinking at the locations that have been planned. These things are going to break out at locations nobody's thinking about. There'll be an incident that nobody's talking about in a location nobody knows about. It will be hard. So right now, guys, let's just say, for example, there's 20, I don't know the numbers. Let's just say right now, ladies and gentlemen, on Friday, there are 50 planned protests at these hotels that are planned. So the police assets and resources have been mobilized so they can react to that. If a protest breaks out somewhere else, there's no one to send there, guys. There's no one to send. And that's where the real problems will happen. That's where I believe there'll be a situation where people who are living in those hotels will come out, take their security into their own hands, and that will be it. That will be it, guys. That will be it. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close down TikTok. I'm going to continue this live stream on YouTube and X. So if you guys want to go and swizzle yourself over there, that would be absolutely fantastic. We'll continue that over there. I can talk a little bit more freely on X, on YouTube, because the algorithm doesn't take me down as much as it does on here. But guys, listen, go show your support. We're triple streaming. This is the way we do it. If you've not done so on TikTok, please follow, please subscribe, please like, comment, all those buttons that really help this channel out, guys. I'm gonna turn this off now, and I will be over on the YouTubes. And thank you to all you guys who've gifted. Linda Lou, Missy D, Aline Hamilton, Jeanette Ryan, Ashton Wallace, Leanne Smith, Googly, Tracy Hart, GB Hart, James Collin, Lady Trace, T, Gemini Blessing, Silver Charm, Zoe, so many, Zoe, Cheryl Heppelstone, Kaz, Julie H, May Bateman, Dinky, Smithy, Dawn Hands, KT, so many. Where did I just do? KT? Gemini? Oh, I just missed them. I've got T, Gemini Blessing, Silver Charm, Zoe, Betty Penny, Cheryl Hepstone, Kez, Julie H, May Bateman, Dinky, Smithy, Dawn Hands, KT, Ruby Loves Chew, Daniel Payne, Witchy Lab, Lorna, Susie, Wolfried, Andy69, Tina Elliott, Lou, Verbs, Larney. Oh my God, how many is there? Right, there's too many to mention, guys. Too many to mention. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go and I'm going to turn this off. I'll be live streaming. I'll continue to live stream on YouTube, guys, and I hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see your beautiful faces over there. And we are off, ladies and gentlemen. We are off. We're just on YouTube. We can talk a little bit more freely. We can talk a little bit more openly now about the craziness things that are happening. It is Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Urgent warning. Friday. The police are warning for it now. The police are braced. Everybody's braced. The more this gets out in the media, the more this catches like a purging flame. This thing is going to rise. Maybe it'll happen today. Maybe it'll happen tomorrow. Maybe it'll happen next week, but it will happen, ladies and gentlemen. Right. I'm going to run in the house. I'm going to get myself another caffeination. Can you guys wait there real quick? Can you guys wait there for a second while I run in the house and then jump back, and then I'll get your comments on YouTube? Give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be right back. So we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Right, guys, listen. There is a lot going on at the moment. There's these... Lots of people are sharing the same thing, and it's about these threats to schools. Now, like I said before, I don't know... I don't know the credibility of the source material. I don't know where the source material is coming from. What I do know is that and I've said this so many times, there will be right now, you can almost guarantee it, there'll be, in fact, We know that there are 43,000 people on a watch list. We know that, and that's the people that have made it on the watch list. And just let me ask you this question, guys, real quick. Let me just ask you guys this question real quick. These people that are coming over on the boats, like, what information do you think they're holding in their brains? Like, all you need realistically is to know, like, if you know, like, if you get trained how to build something, for example, and I think we'll see these in the United Kingdom. For example, right now in Ukraine, they are building quadcopter drones and putting explosives in them. Those things are not bought, they're built. People make those. So do we think that there's any possibility that people could learn how to make this stuff overseas, then come over on a boat with nothing, just the knowledge that's in their head? When they get to the UK or where they get to wherever they're going, they then have that knowledge, then they can put that knowledge into action. Like, how do you check for that? How do you check for that? Is like a brain scanning machine and saying, oh no, you know how to do this, you're not like, no, of course not. They're like knowledge. Yes, of course, when you come over, you know, when you come to the United Kingdom legally, you put your bags through the scanning machine, you put, you know, through the airport and what have you, you know, like, what knowledge are those people carrying? And that's, to me, something that's really difficult. It's impossible. You can't combat it. So the scenario I'm going to give you, people, is imagine you as a bad guy. And I'm going to use this as a sabbath. I'm going to use this. You know what? We're not on TikTok. I can say whatever I want. So imagine you was planning an attack, right? What are you going to do? Are you going to send your, like, and if you was like, you know, a near peer adversary, Iran, Russia, North Korea, you know, any of these near peer adversaries, what are you going to do? Are you going to send in your own, like, Yuri? You're going to send Yuri and Vasnia and Vadim. You're going to send all those guys over, you know, in their, you know, with their expensive watches and their three-piece suits and their Aston Martins. You know, are you going to send those? Or are you going to wait at the border when the people are coming over on the boats and say, excuse me, mate, do you want to earn some money? What? Yeah, do you want to earn some money? Yes. Right. When you get to the United Kingdom, do X, Y, and Z on this date, and I'll give you a load of money. There's no deterrence. There's no deterrence for these things not to happen. Like, what? Like, realistically, what are they? I mean, right now, these people that are in hotels, they've got 4 walls, they've got a roof and a bed and 3 meals a day. Prison, and they're surrounded by dudes. Prison is 4 walls, 3 meals a day, they have a bed, and they're surrounded by dudes. There's no incentive for these guys, you know, there's no incentive for these guys not to take up that life. And I've been in the Middle East, and, you know, anybody who claims to understand the Middle East doesn't understand the Middle East. And the example I'll give you is this. It's a good example. It's a good example. I've given it quite a few times because it's a good example. When people come from certain cultures, Afghanistan's a prime one. In Afghanistan, stoning is still legal, all right? So, those of you guys don't know what stoning is, you literally bury a woman and then throw rocks at her head until she's dead. Blunt trauma. Think about that. There's no legal age where you can, there's no official stoners. It's literally people just go and throw stones. Kids go and throw stones. So you've got to think about this now, guys, right? Think about a little boy, he's maybe 10-year-old, he goes to his first stoning with his dad and his uncle. What's going through his head? How is his head? Like, mentally? So he, you know, bigger rocks, and then he's 18 now, and he's throwing really big rocks. There's a word for that, in my opinion. Spelled backwards, it's red rum. So these people now are able to get on boats, and in fact, the British government may be bringing them a lot of them over from Afghanistan. So these guys come over to the UK. Those people, what is their opinion of women? So that person who you're thinking of, who's been to loads of those stonings since he was 10, he's been throwing lots of stones, and now he throws how do you think he's going to treat women? What respect do you think he's going to have? Anyway, guys, let me jump up and get these comments. Paul Sutherland saying you can't just blame people on boats, sadly. Terrible things will happen regardless where they're from. Fact is guaranteed they're already here. And their primary targets are, yes, I agree. Primary targets are infrastructure. I don't know where we're going with that comment. You can't just blame the people on the boat, sadly. Terrible things will happen regardless where they're from. Fact is guaranteed they're already here. I know we can't just blame people on boats, but what we can blame is the destruction of British culture. I mean, honestly, guys, just consider this for a moment. I spent my, I guess, childhood up until 16, I guess, going to the local village fair on a weekend, certainly in the summer, watching the cricket games, trying to get somebody to go and buy you a beer. And that was like my summer, summer fairs, watching the cricket, fields, open countryside. That's what I see as British culture. And then when I see some of the things happening at Notting Hill Carnival, with this just absolute debauchery, in the name of I don't even know what it is. This twerking and this sexualization. I don't know, guys. And it seems that we are actively destroying our own culture, which I believe superior, for the sake of something that's inferior. And I don't know why it's happening. It's just crazy. John Giles is saying, I can blame boat people and I will. I think what we're talking about here is, there's the people coming on the boats. There's also people coming on planes. I mean, this Afghanistan scandal with the thousands of people that Britain have brought over to the United Kingdom. The list, as I understand it, I need to slow up your shoulders. As I understand that list, guys, so those people on that list, they were not people who'd worked with the British military. They were not people who'd ever supported the British military. The people on that list were just people who'd applied. And a good majority of those people were chancing it, thinking, I'll just apply just in case I can jump through the net. A lot of those people had never come into contact with the British military. And now British taxpayers are giving them a house and paying for them for the rest of their lives. And they did nothing to help. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong, guys. Tell me I'm wrong. So, yes, and those guys didn't come over on a boat. Those guys came over on an airplane and got put into houses, and they've done absolutely nothing to help our country. And you know what, guys? Another thing, when we're talking about Afghanistan, I know more than most, believe me. Those people who went out with British soldiers and helped the British soldiers, they were not helping Britain. They weren't helping you. No, they were helping themselves. They were helping Afghanistan. But they weren't competent enough And this is what got me banned. I got banned. I got banned for saying that there were the Afghan soldiers were quite possibly the worst soldiers I'd ever trained. That got me banned. I've trained quite a lot. So now we're bringing these. Yeah, guys, look, I need to stop. I need to stop. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, right, Natalie. Oh, Natalie is saying they moved them into military family accommodation next door to me too. Oh, right, okay. So Natalie, you are in military accommodation. May I ask where? If I'm not being too. So do you know what? It's not relevant where. Guys, there's so many comments. I don't think I'm going to be able to get through them too. Rent HD is saying, watching you on YouTube, mate. I not saw you on TikTok for weeks, Sean. TikTok banned you. Yes, I was banned on TikTok, guys. I got banned on TikTok for saying that the troops I trained in Afghanistan were the worst troops I trained. I then got restricted. I then came back on my first live stream back. I said, and this is what got me restricted again. I said on TikTok, I gave you guys the definition of treason. I literally read the definition of treason. I literally read the definition of treason on the Oxford definition of treason. And as I was reading it, a little notification came up saying your live stream has been restricted. I can't remember what the exact wording, but it just said live stream restricted. So yeah, apparently on TikTok you're not allowed to have opinions on people you've worked with, and you are not allowed to read dictionary definitions, because dictionary definitions now, ladies and gentlemen, are painful to people. There, it's I guess it is what it is. You're not allowed. Right. Okay. Sorry. Sorry, Natalie. Sean, in Edinburgh, if try phone, you go straight to the government. What does that mean? If try phone, you go straight to the government. I do know that now with these new laws that are out, the government or anyone can look through your WhatsApp, basically your messages. So your WhatsApp, whatever messaging platforms you guys use, the government can look through them. Now, what do we think this is for, ladies and gentlemen? Do we think this is to keep children safe online, or do we think this is just for snooping? I went through my group chats and there's, and I was thinking, like, there's nothing on there that I'm like, I mean, there's sensitive stuff on there, but nothing I wouldn't like be happy to share with the government. But who is looking through this? Who has access to this? We've got tech ministers who are not. I mean, look, if we go through with, let's just say that, let's just think Orwellian. Let's just think, in George Orwell's, there's something called doublespeak. Which is literally where we are right now, guys. We have had a homelessness minister that was making more people homeless. We have a finance minister who's making people poorer. We have a tech minister who's not very tech savvy. Like, where do we go with this? We are literally heading towards we are in George Orwell's 1984. We really are. Like I said before, guys, it would not surprise me, guys. It would not surprise me if the government. It would not surprise me if the government came out and said, we're going to open a new government department to combat misinformation. We're going to call it the Ministry of Truth. Honestly, it would not surprise me, guys. And for those of you guys who don't know, in George Orwell's 1984, I think is where the one of the characters works. There's a department in the government. It's called the Ministry of Truth. And what they do in the Ministry of Truth, they go through books, they go through everything, and they remove words and re-edit things to re-edit books basically to fit the government's agenda. April Lee is saying in Nottingham City, 7 hotels are full of immigrants. The sixth form college has no students now because of the issues raised with immigrants following. Oh, it's disgusting, isn't it? It's disgusting. You know, last night we talked about this, and I did my rudimental Raven maths. You guys love my rudimental Raven maths. Look, guys, where I work, everybody loves my maths. And through my rudimental Raven maths, we estimated that there were over 5,000 incidents involving young girls and migrants happening per year in the United Kingdom. That's what we estimated, guys. If you wanna look at the calculations for that, go and check out my my live stream yesterday. Mr. Nick Nasty, with a very peculiar picture, Mr. Nick Nasty, saying Long Eaton Junction 25 used to be a Novotel. Where? I don't know where Long Eaton is. Is that on the M25? No, Long Eaton's on the M1 into. Yeah, Long Eaton's on the M1 into. I wouldn't know about that, guys. I wouldn't know about that. All I know is that this is, in fact, actually, I was driving by the. I think it was the A30. Is it the A38 when you're going to Alton Towers? I think it's the A38 when you come off at. I think you come off on the M1 at junction 28 and you go like that way. So like you're going down. So like west. I don't know what it is, but it's the road towards Alton Towers. I was driving on the road towards Alton Towers, and there's several roundabouts. If you continue, if there's like several roundabouts, and on one of these roundabouts, it's gone now. On one of these roundabouts, there was a load of tents and what I would perceive to be migrants living there. Now, I was thinking, if these guys live on that roundabout and manage to claim that they've been living on that roundabout for 10 years, they then claim under UK adverse possession, they claim that land. That's their land then. I shit you. I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have instances in the United Kingdom where mass swaths of our countryside are going to be claimed by adverse possession. That's going to happen, guys. Believe me, it's going to happen. And these, I think, a third of migrants go missing. So it's going to be claimed that these migrants have been living in some woodland, living in some field, and then that land is going to be given to them. I swear to God, guys, this is coming. Why wouldn't it come? Why wouldn't it happen? There'll be legal companies there. There'll be legal teams there who'll be thinking, yeah, we can manipulate the law. We can make this happen. Then big patches of land will be handed over. Believe me, guys, that is coming. Why is it coming? Because it can. April Lee is saying 3 hotels in Long Eaton are now full. Alton Towers is the right. Okay, the A34. Sorry, guys, the A34. I can't remember. I don't know what these roads are, guys. I just know I was driving past the roundabout and there was a load of tents on there. Tim Skate, I told you about my mate who came in on the boat. Even he says there are too many here. He can't get help. At what point, ladies and gentlemen, it's unbelievable, guys. It's unbelievable. Right, ladies and gentlemen, listen. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning. I'm going to close this down now. I will be back on at 8, I hope. Remember, mass protests planned all over the United Kingdom, guys. Okay, urgent warning, mass events planned for today. Police are preparing for protests. Police are prepared if protests turn violent. I would speculate that the planned demonstrations are not going to be the main event. The main events are going to be where nobody knows, where they're off the radar, they're off the beaten track, they're hard to get to. That's where things are going to go south, guys. At these locations that are well planned, well documented and well promoted, there's going to be a big police presence there. It's going to be at the other places. We are heading into a time where we are looking like sword and sandals tactics in the United Kingdom. It's going to be it's going to be, we're heading for a situation in the United Kingdom that is going to be like Northern Ireland on steroids, guys. It really is. Anyway, guys, listen, I am going to close this down now. I'll be back later on at 8. Stay safe and remember, hibernate, relocate, evacuate.